Forward roll. So I show the forward roll a little different than most people, and there's a reason behind that. A lot of times the forward roll is taught where it's kind of this sprawling, leaping, diving roll. And we want to kind of do the opposite. When we dive and roll, we really open up our body. And just for the sake of rolling, it's not super important that we keep everything tight and closed off. But once we actually go to apply this movement in a practical application, it's important that we keep our armpits and our hips and our torso closed off so that our opponent doesn't come into that space. So instead of diving and opening, everything's going to be really tight on this. So I want to be on both of my feet because that's what's going to give me the best mobility. Even though I'm crouched down, we always want our feet and especially our toes on the mat for the most part whenever possible. So I'm going to have one knee up, one knee down on both my feet. You can see I'm on my toes back here. It's very important. And I'm going to feed the opposite hand in through the foot or in through the leg here. This hand is going to go to the mat inside of my knee here, and it's going to slow my descent. If we don't put this hand down, what tends to happen is my head just comes crashing to the mat here. So the purpose of this hand coming down is to slow my body coming down to the mat so I don't go head first into the mat. I want to tuck my head and shoulder as close to my foot here as possible. The more I put my shoulder to the mat in front of me, the harder it is to get my hips up over my shoulder to complete the roll. So if my shoulder's out here, it's hard to press over, and I really have to give a good push in order to get up over that shoulder. So instead, what we want to do is try and tuck that head as deep under my hips as possible. And it's really the shoulder. I want to plant that shoulder as deep as possible. So the hand's coming through, and I'm going to put the shoulder close to the foot. If the shoulder's out here, it will throw off the direction that I go. So I'm going to tuck the shoulder down right here, okay, using this hand to slow that descent. From here, I want to press off of the back foot here, and this foot will come off. You can see I'm kind of resting my knee against my arm here, and allowing both of my knee to come off and my foot to come off. So both of these bases are going to come off of the mat here. And I'm going to be on my hand, my shoulder, and my toes. Okay, right here. So once you get a little better at this, you kind of want to keep your head off the mat. But if you need to use your head to base initially, that's okay too. But eventually, you'll get to where you don't want your head to touch the mat at all. So hands here, knee against the tricep, tucking the shoulder, posting on the shoulder, pressing with this leg until this leg goes straight. From here, it's just a push of the toes, and wherever I point that leg is where I should go. So the main issue that people have on this move is the direction that they go. And so it really comes from this back leg. Whichever way I press with that leg is the direction I'm going to go. And that leg is going to follow over top and point me in whatever direction. So if you ever find yourself falling to the side, if I do this right at the camera here, if you ever find yourself falling to the side on these forward rolls, it's generally because that back leg has come off the mat too soon. So I really want to leave that back leg on the mat as long as possible and then press through at the last moment. Okay. So Really, those toes should be the last thing that comes off the mat before you roll. And that'll really help prevent you from falling towards your back. So just a couple more times from a few angles here. And there you are.